this pulled together?
The person that was on that phone that said that quote was actually Erika. Erika claims Andrew went rogue and also the surgeon went rogue and violated HIPAA. My source says that no, the surgeon did not violate HIPAA and he never said that.
The moment this story hit timelines, people couldn't believe what they were watching. Comments flooded in faster than anyone could read them. Lives were clipped and re-uploaded within minutes, and one phrase kept repeating everywhere: fans are shocked. According to multiple online reports and commentary channels, Erika Kirk appeared to completely lose control during a live moment, shortly after Candace Owens discussed what she described as a shocking alibi twist. Now, to be clear, none of this is being presented as confirmed fact. This is about what's being claimed, what's being speculated, and how the internet is reacting to it all. Viewers say the tension was obvious from the start. Erika's voice reportedly trembled, her expressions shifted rapidly, and what was supposed to be a calm appearance allegedly spiraled into something far more emotional. People watching in real time claim you could feel that something was wrong. This wasn't just another rumor floating around. This felt personal. Emotions ran high, and the atmosphere instantly changed the moment Candace's comments started circulating. Online commentators are saying that Candace didn't just question a timeline. She allegedly challenged an entire version of events that many had already accepted. According to those reports, the suggestion of a flawed alibi struck a nerve, and fans believe that's when everything started to unravel. Chat sections exploded with disbelief. Some rushed to defend Erika, while others demanded answers. The divide was instant and intense. What made it even more dramatic, according to viewers, was the timing. The live appearance reportedly happened just as clips and quotes from Candace were spreading across social media. Fans claim it felt like watching two narratives collide in real time, one side pushing questions, the other side struggling to keep composure. And right in the middle of it all, an audience watching every blink, every pause, every emotional shift. People online are now saying this wasn't just about gossip anymore. They believe personal stakes were involved, reputations, trust, credibility. And once those things are questioned publicly, there's no easy way to take it back. The family, supporters, and critics were all pulled into the chaos, leaving everyone wondering the same thing. If these reports are even partially true, what happens next? And that's exactly why this story isn't going away, because according to the internet, this live moment may have changed everything. The moment the live stream continued, the mood reportedly shifted from uneasy to outright chaotic. Viewers say Erika tried to steady herself, speaking slowly at first, choosing words carefully, but the pressure coming from the comments and the circulating clips made that nearly impossible. According to online reactions, the chat was moving so fast it felt like a wall of accusations, questions, and emotional pleas. Some fans begged her to log off, others demanded explanations, and a loud group kept repeating Candace's name over and over, as if daring Erika to respond. Commentary channels claim this was the exact point where Erika's composure began to crack. Her tone allegedly changed, going from measured to defensive, and then to visibly strained. People watching say she paused multiple times, stared off screen, and took deep breaths as if trying to ground herself. That alone was enough to send social media into overdrive. Screenshots of her expressions were posted.
That these people are not humans, that they're sentinels that maybe look like humans. That's why
everywhere, with captions saying emotions ran high and something felt off. What pushed the situation further, according to reports, was when Erika finally addressed the rumors indirectly. She did not name anyone outright, but viewers believe it was clear who she was referring to. She allegedly said she was tired of people twisting timelines, tired of strangers acting like investigators, and tired of her private life being dissected for entertainment. Those words only fueled the fire. Critics said it sounded like deflection, while supporters argued she was reacting like any human under extreme pressure. Behind-the-scenes chatter suggests that family members and close friends were watching the live stream too, growing increasingly concerned. Some reports claim Erika received messages mid-live urging her to stop talking, to end the stream, to protect herself. But instead of logging off, she allegedly stayed, which fans interpreted as either bravery or desperation, depending on which side they were on. Online, the narrative quickly expanded. People weren't just talking about the live anymore. They started revisiting old posts, old interviews, and old statements, comparing timelines and screenshots. Fan accounts that once posted supportive edits now began asking uncomfortable questions. The family was left divided in the public eye, with some voices calling for patience and empathy, while others insisted that silence would only
make things worse. According to commentary, the emotional weight of the moment was heavy because of what was at stake: Erika's reputation, her credibility, and her image as someone deserving of trust were all being questioned at once. Viewers say you could see the frustration on her face when comments accused her of hiding behind vague language.
But we serve a just God, and I rest easy in knowing that. He's sovereign, but he's just. So let the Lord handle that.
At one point, she allegedly snapped back, saying she should not have to prove her whereabouts to strangers on the internet. That line alone sparked thousands of reactions, with fans arguing back and forth over whether public figures owe transparency. Interviews 706-759. As the live went on, reactions from outside voices poured in. Influencers posted quick reaction videos, some siding with Erika, others amplifying Candace's claims while carefully framing them as allegations. Phrases like "fans are shocked" and "this is getting darker" trended across platforms. What started as commentary turned into a full-blown spectacle, with everyone trying to read between the lines of Erika's words. Sources online claim that even within her own circle, opinions were split. Some believed she was being unfairly targeted and emotionally overwhelmed. Others reportedly felt her responses were poorly handled and only added confusion. This internal tension, whether real or perceived, became another layer of drama that kept viewers glued. The most intense moment, according to viewers, came when Erika appeared to choke up. Her voice reportedly wavered as she spoke about grief, pressure, and the feeling of being watched constantly. That moment softened some critics, at least briefly. Comments shifted from aggressive questioning to messages saying she needed help, rest, or support. But the calm did not last long. Interview 944-1015. Almost immediately, new comments surfaced referencing the alleged alibi twist again. Viewers claim Erika's face changed when she noticed those messages. Her posture stiffened, her words became shorter, and the tension returned. This back and forth created a cycle of sympathy and suspicion that defined the entire live. Meanwhile, Candace's supporters
starts live reading the messages that are coming in from Andrew Colbert, where he proceeds to give an alibi that no one asked for. He's like, this is what Erika was doing on September 9th. Okay, the guy said he saw her on the 8th. It's kind of like the Brian Harpole, where they're just like giving us alibis for times that we're not talking about. Again, I wasn't even necessarily pressuring them for an alibi, but he then proceeds to walk him through what Erika was doing on September 9th, and he's pretending like she doesn't even know what Fort Huachuca was, even though her mother has a contract with the Department of Defense and would have obviously had to have been familiar with Fort Huachuca, which is in her backyard, and in Turning Point USA's backyard as well. Notice that's Erika's hand. So that means Erika, the CEO of Turning Point USA, is directing the spokesperson of Turning Point USA, Andrew Colbert, to send her...
were actively clipping the stream, posting moments they believed contradicted Erika's earlier statements. Commentary channels framed this as a chess match of narratives, where every second on camera mattered. Emotions ran high, not just for Erika, but for the audience, who felt they were watching something unravel in real time. By the end of the live segment, viewers say nothing was truly resolved. No clear answers were given, no timelines confirmed, no accusations directly addressed. Instead, the stream ended with more questions than answers. People were left speculating about what was said off camera, who advised Erika afterward, and whether this moment would force a bigger response. As soon as the live ended, social media exploded again. Reaction videos multiplied, comment sections filled with debates, and hashtags tied to the alleged alibi twist climbed higher. Some fans insisted the live proved Erika was innocent and simply overwhelmed. Others argued that the emotional display raised even more red flags. And while Erika went quiet after that, at least publicly, the noise around her only grew louder. According to online commentary, this moment marked a turning point, not because anything was confirmed, but because perception shifted. The story was no longer just about rumors. It was about how those rumors were being handled under pressure, and whether that handling helped or hurt the narrative surrounding her. The live stream opened in what many viewers described as an uneasy calm, the kind that feels forced rather than natural. Erika appeared composed on the surface, but people watching closely said there was a tension in her eyes, a stiffness in her posture that suggested she was already aware of the storm building around her. According to online commentary, the timing alone made the moment explosive. Clips of Candace's recent remarks were already spreading fast, and the chat reflected that instantly. Names, accusations, and questions rolled by faster than anyone could process. At first, Erika spoke about unrelated topics, attempting to keep the conversation light and controlled. Fans say it felt like she was buying time, hoping the moment...
He was the one who issued that tweet and quoted the surgeon. I then told you that The surgeon never said that. That was not a quote from the surgeon. What I didn't tell you was that according to my source, which I trust very much, the person that was on that phone that said that quote was actually Erika. Erika claims Andrew went rogue and also the surgeon went rogue and violated HIPAA. My source says that no, the surgeon did not violate HIPAA and he never said that, but he answered Andrew Kovet's questions because Erika was on the phone, that the Superman quotation came from her.
Would pass, but the audience wasn't there for small talk. Viewers repeatedly steered the conversation back to the circulating reports. Comments referenced timelines, alleged alibis, and supposed contradictions. The atmosphere grew heavier with every passing minute. Those watching claim Erika tried to ignore the noise, but it became impossible. Her pauses grew longer, her responses shorter. At one point, she reportedly stopped mid-sentence, reading something on her screen, and took a deep breath. That single pause was clipped and shared thousands of times within minutes. Fans are shocked became the most repeated phrase in captions, as people tried to interpret what that silence
meant. Commentary channels later suggested that this was when Erika realized the situation had moved beyond her control. The narrative was no longer something she could steer casually. It was being shaped live by thousands of voices at once. Some fans pleaded with her to log off, warning that anything she said could be twisted. Others pushed harder, demanding clarity and accountability. According to reports, Erika finally addressed the situation without naming anyone directly. She spoke about how painful it was to see private moments turned into public speculation. She said grief changes people, that pressure warps perception, and that not everything online deserves a response. Supporters flooded the chat with hearts and messages of encouragement, saying emotions ran high and she deserved compassion. But that moment of support didn't last. Critics immediately countered, saying vague statements only made things worse. They wanted specifics, not general reflections. They wanted dates, details, and explanations. The divide in the audience became impossible to miss. The family was left divided in the court of public opinion, with some viewers defending Erika fiercely, while others accused her of avoiding the core issue. As the live continued, people claim Erika's tone shifted again. Frustration crept in, replacing the earlier calm. She reportedly said she was exhausted by strangers acting like detectives, tearing apart moments they didn't understand. That line sparked an instant reaction. Some viewers applauded her for pushing back, while others argued that public figures invite scrutiny whether they like it or not. Behind-the-scenes speculation added another layer to the drama. Commentators claimed that friends and advisors were messaging Erika during the stream, urging her to be careful. Some said they could see her glancing off-screen, as if reading instructions or warnings. Whether true or not, the perception alone fueled more theories. Meanwhile, reaction videos began appearing in real time. Influencers paused the live to give instant commentary, framing every expression as a clue. Screenshots of Erika mid-blink, mid-breath, mid-pause, were analyzed like evidence. Emotions ran high across platforms, with people projecting their own conclusions onto every second of footage. One moment in particular stood out to viewers. Erika reportedly spoke about feeling watched constantly, about the pressure of never being allowed to process pain privately. Her voice wavered slightly, and for a brief moment, even critics softened. The chat filled with messages telling her to take care of herself, to step away, to protect her mental health. But once again, the calm was short-lived. Comments referencing the alleged alibi twist surged back into view. Viewers say Erika's demeanor changed almost instantly. Her shoulders tightened, her words became clipped. She avoided eye contact with the camera, focusing instead on her screen. That shift reignited suspicion among critics, who argued that emotional reactions were replacing clear answers. According to online discussions, this back and forth defined the entire live. Sympathy followed by skepticism, support followed by doubt. Every attempt to move forward circled back to the same unresolved questions, and with each loop, the tension escalated. As the minutes passed, the live felt less like a conversation and more like a standoff. Erika was on one side, trying to maintain control of her narrative. The audience was on the other, demanding transparency. Neither side backed down. The result, according to viewers, was a slow unraveling that felt uncomfortable to watch. By the time the live ended, nothing concrete had been settled. No accusations were confirmed, no timelines clarified. Instead, the stream closed with a sense of unease hanging in the air. Viewers were left refreshing their feeds, waiting for the next clip, the next response, the next twist. And almost immediately after the live went offline, the reaction intensified. Social media lit up with debates, breakdowns, and theories. Some fans insisted the live proved Erika was simply overwhelmed by unfair pressure.
Others argued it raised more red flags than ever before. Either way, according to commentary, this moment marked a clear shift. The story had entered a new phase, driven not by what was proven, but by how it all looked when emotions took over in front of thousands of watching eyes. As the aftermath of the live continued to ripple outward, the conversation online took on a sharper edge. People were no longer just reacting emotionally. They began constructing narratives, pulling threads, and stitching together theories that stretched far beyond what had actually been said. Commentary channels framed this phase as the moment when speculation hardened into belief for many viewers. Once emotions are on display, audiences tend to treat them as evidence, and that shift proved impossible to reverse. According to reports,
Circulating online, Candace's earlier commentary resurfaced with renewed intensity. Clips were replayed alongside moments from the live, edited back-to-back to suggest contrast. Commentators emphasized tone, timing, and phrasing, carefully reminding audiences that these were claims and opinions, not confirmed facts. Yet the dramatic framing did its work. Fans are shocked became less of a reaction and more of a headline. What truly escalated the situation, according to online voices, was the sudden involvement of secondary figures. Friends, former supporters, and even distant acquaintances of Erika were dragged into the conversation simply because of old photos or past interactions. People began tagging anyone remotely connected, demanding statements, clarifications, or loyalty. The family was left divided, not just emotionally, but visibly, as different sides of the internet rallied behind different interpretations. Some commentators suggested that Erika's silence after the live was strategic. Others believed it was a sign of emotional exhaustion. Both interpretations spread simultaneously, feeding opposite conclusions. Supporters argued that stepping back showed maturity and self-protection. Critics claimed it looked like avoidance. Every hour without a response added fuel to both arguments. Meanwhile, alleged insiders began to surface in comment sections and live streams, each claiming knowledge of behind-the-scenes conversations. These accounts were always careful to frame their words as rumors or secondhand information, yet their confidence made them sound convincing. Viewers debated whether these voices were credible or simply chasing attention. Still, the damage was done. Once a claim is heard, it lingers, regardless of its source. The emotional stakes continued to rise as fans projected their own experiences onto the situation. Some spoke about betrayal, others about grief, others about being misunderstood by the public. Erika became less of an individual and more of a symbol in these discussions. To some, she represented a person unfairly targeted by online mobs. To others, she embodied everything they distrusted about curated public narratives. Commentary shows leaned heavily into this divide. Hosts spoke in hushed tones, emphasizing how strange the timing felt, how unusual certain reactions appeared. They used phrases like emotions ran high and nothing adds up, careful not to assert facts while still guiding viewers toward suspicion. The entertainment value soared, even as clarity diminished. Reports claimed that Erika's inner circle was feeling the pressure as well. People online speculated that advisors were urging restraint, warning that any response could be clipped, misinterpreted, and weaponized. At the same time, silence was being read as confirmation by the loudest critics. It was a no-win situation, and viewers sensed it. That sense of being trapped became a core part of the drama. Another twist emerged when older statements were resurfaced. Clips from past interviews were pulled out of context and re-examined under this new lens. Lines that once sounded harmless were now treated as foreshadowing. Commentary channels slowed down footage, replayed audio, and asked rhetorical questions that never needed answers to plant doubt. Fans debated whether this was fair analysis or opportunistic storytelling. Reactions from the broader fan base were equally polarized. Some organized comment campaigns defending Erika, urging empathy and reminding others that online speculation has real consequences. Others doubled down, insisting that public figures must expect scrutiny and that emotional responses do not excuse inconsistencies. The argument became less about what actually happened and more about what people believed should happen next. Candace's role in this phase was framed as both catalyst and commentator. Supporters praised her for asking questions others avoided. Critics accused her of escalating tension without offering resolution. Still, her name remained central to every discussion, proving that regardless of intent, her involvement had reshaped the narrative permanently. As days passed, the story took on a life of its own. Memes circulated alongside serious breakdowns, humor mixed with outrage, blurring the line between entertainment and accusation. Some viewers admitted they no longer remembered where the original claim started. They were following the drama now, not the details. That shift worried a few voices, but most leaned into the spectacle. According to online chatter, Erika's absence from public view only intensified curiosity. Every new post she liked, every account she followed, every moment of online activity was scrutinized.
People treated digital footprints as clues, constructing timelines out of nothing more than social media behavior. The pressure mounted, even without a single new statement. This stage of the saga was defined by escalation without confirmation. New facts
emerged, yet the sense of crisis grew. Fans were shocked not because something new had been proven, but because the story refused to slow down. It kept expanding, pulling in more voices, more theories, more emotion. And by the end of this phase, the tone had fully shifted. What began as commentary about a live moment had transformed into a broader debate about trust, transparency, and performance in the public eye. Erika was no longer just responding to claims. She was being measured against expectations she never agreed to but could not escape. The internet had chosen its sides, and whichever way the story would turn next, one thing was clear in the commentary world. The emotional fallout from that live was far from over, and the longer it lingered unresolved, the more dramatic the next development was destined to be. As the narrative kept unfolding, the pressure shifted from loud speculation to something quieter but far more intense. According to commentary, this was the phase where people stopped reacting and started dissecting. Every word from the live, every pause, every emotional inflection was replayed with a colder eye. Fans who once defended Erika passionately began asking softer but sharper questions. Not accusations, but doubts. And those doubts proved harder to shake. Online discussions suggest that the emotional display from the live created an unintended problem. While some viewers saw vulnerability, others interpreted it as inconsistency. They argued that emotions alone could not explain why certain details remained unclear. This didn't mean they believed any specific claim outright, but it did mean trust was eroding, slowly, quietly, but visibly. Commentary channels leaned into this shift by changing tone. Instead of dramatic outrage, hosts began speaking more calmly, more analytically. They framed the situation as a psychological unraveling rather than a scandal. Phrases like, "this feels rehearsed," or "this feels unmanaged," started to appear more frequently. Again, nothing was stated as fact, but implication did the work. According to reports, Erika supporters noticed this change immediately. They pushed back, arguing that grief does not follow rules, and that emotional responses should not be treated as evidence. They accused commentators of moving goalposts, of demanding perfect behavior from someone under extreme stress. Those arguments resonated with many, but not enough to stop the momentum. Another twist emerged through what people called pattern recognition. Viewers began pointing out similarities between Erika's current responses and her past handling of controversy. Not identical situations, but similar rhythms. Initial silence, emotional appeal, controlled statements, followed by withdrawal. Whether fair or not, this perceived pattern became central to the discussion. Once the internet believes it sees a pattern, it rarely lets go. This led to a new wave of content focusing not on the alleged alibi itself, but on narrative control. Commentators speculated about who was advising Erika, what strategy was being used, and whether that strategy was failing. Some claimed the live should never have happened. Others argued it was inevitable, a pressure valve that burst on camera. Reactions from peripheral figures added fuel. People who had never spoken publicly before began hinting that they knew more than they could say. These hints were vague, carefully worded, and often ended with phrases like, "I can't talk about this right now." Yet those half-statements were enough to keep audiences hooked. The idea that information existed but was being withheld made the story feel unfinished. Meanwhile, Candace's commentary continued to loom over everything, even when she said nothing new. Her earlier remarks were treated like a reference point, a baseline against which Erika's reactions were measured. Supporters of Candace argue that asking questions is not the same as making accusations. Critics argue that repeated questioning without resolution becomes narrative shaping. Both sides accuse the other of bad faith. As days passed, the emotional temperature rose again. Fans who felt unheard grew louder. Comment sections turned hostile, not just toward Erika, but toward each other. Accusations of manipulation, bias, and cloud chasing flew in every direction. The family was left divided in public perception, not because of anything confirmed, but because of how people interpreted silence and speech differently. Commentary suggested that this was the most dangerous phase for Erika's image. Not the initial shock, not the live meltdown narrative, but the prolonged ambiguity. Uncertainty invites imagination, and imagination online rarely favors restraint. Even neutral actions were reframed as calculated moves. Even absence was treated as strategy. Some viewers began to express fatigue. They admitted they were tired of theories, tired of not knowing what was real. But instead of disengaging, they stayed, hoping the next development would bring clarity. This paradox kept the story alive. Frustration did not lead to silence. It led to obsession. Newer commentators entered the space, summarizing the drama for audiences who had missed earlier stages. These recaps often amplified the most dramatic interpretations because those were easiest to explain quickly. Nuance was lost in translation.
the story became simpler, darker, and more sensational as it spread. According to online chatter, Erika's camp may have underestimated this phase. While the live addressed immediate emotional pressure, it did not satisfy the growing demand for coherence. People wanted a version of events that felt complete. Instead, they were left with fragments. Fragments invite assembly, and the internet eagerly assembled its own versions. At the same time, a counter-movement grew stronger. Voices urging restraint, reminding others that speculation can cause real harm, gained traction. They questioned the ethics of turning grief and uncertainty into serialized entertainment. These voices did not deny drama existed. They questioned whether consuming it this way was justified. This clash between conscience and curiosity became another layer of tension. Viewers found themselves torn between empathy and intrigue. They wanted to be fair, but they also wanted answers. And in the absence of answers, they kept watching. By now, the story was no longer about a single live or a single claim. It had evolved into a broader conversation about public performance under pressure. Erika became a case study, willingly or not. Commentators spoke about what happens when personal pain intersects with digital spectacle and how easily intention is lost in translation. Yet despite all this analysis, nothing concrete emerged. No statement clarified the timeline. No evidence confirmed or denied the theories. Everything remained suspended, and that suspension was unbearable for an audience trained on resolution. As this phase drew to a close, the mood shifted again, not toward calm, but toward anticipation. Viewers sensed that something had to give. Either Erika would speak again, or someone else would. The silence felt temporary, like the pause before another wave. And in that pause, the drama did not fade. It sharpened. Every second without clarity raised the stakes higher, setting the stage for whatever came next to feel even more explosive than the last. As the silence stretched on, the atmosphere around the story grew heavier instead of calmer. According to ongoing commentary, the absence of a clear response became its own statement in the eyes of many viewers. People began filling the gaps with assumptions, and once those assumptions settled, they hardened into convictions. The longer Erika stayed quiet, the more confident certain voices became that they were watching a narrative collapse in slow motion. Reaction videos took on a different tone during this phase. Creators no longer sounded surprised, they sounded certain. Phrases like "this explains everything," and "now it makes sense" started appearing more often. Once again, nothing was being presented as fact, but repetition has power. Fans of some shocked shifted from shock to expectation, as if the audience was bracing for an inevitable reveal that hadn't even happened yet. According to online chatter, this was also when sympathy began to thin, not disappear entirely, but fade into the background. Viewers who once urged patience started saying they felt manipulated by the constant cycle of emotion without clarity. They didn't accuse Erika outright, but they questioned whether the situation was being handled honestly. That subtle shift mattered. Trust rarely vanishes all at once, it erodes. Commentary channels leaned into the idea of consequences. They speculated about how prolonged ambiguity could damage relationships, careers, and public standing. They talked about how narratives once formed are nearly impossible to reverse. Erika's image, they suggested, was no longer entirely hers to control. It belonged to the internet now, shaped by perception more than intention. Another wave of drama emerged when supposed timelines were discussed again, this time in simplified form. Creators laid them out visually, pointing out where things felt unclear or contradictory. These breakdowns spread quickly because they were easy to digest. Nuance was replaced with clarity, even if that clarity was artificial. Viewers shared these videos with captions and saying answers had already been found. Supporters pushed back hard, arguing that simplified timelines ignore context and human complexity. They accused commentators of turning uncertainty into entertainment. These defenders spoke passionately about empathy, mental health, and the dangers of digital mod behavior. Their voices mattered, but they struggled to compete with content that promised answers, even imaginary ones. According to discussions, Erika's inner circle was now
being scrutinized more intensely than ever. People questioned who was advising her, why certain decisions were made, and whether silence was truly the best option. Every perceived move was framed as calculated. Even the lack of movement was treated as strategy. The idea that someone might simply be overwhelmed was slowly pushed aside. This stage also saw the emergence of comparison. Viewers began referencing other public figures who faced controversy and how they handled it. Some said Erika should have addressed everything head-on. Others argued that doing so would only escalate the situation further. There was no consensus, only criticism. Whatever path she chose was retroactively framed as the wrong one. The emotional toll of this scrutiny became a topic itself. Commentators speculated about how it must feel to watch your life debated by strangers. Some expressed genuine concern, while others questioned whether public exposure comes with an obligation to endure this pressure. The debate grew philosophical, shifting from this specific story to a broader conversation about fame and accountability. Yet even in these deeper discussions, the original intrigue never fully disappeared. The alleged alibi twist remained the anchor point, the unanswered question everyone circled back to. Without resolution, it loomed over every analysis like a shadow. No matter how far the conversation drifted, it always returned to that central uncertainty. According to online voices, this unresolved tension began affecting the audience itself. Some admitted they felt uneasy watching this story unfold this way. They questioned their own role as spectators. Others leaned in harder, treating each new rumor as a piece of a puzzle they were determined to solve. Curiosity outweighed discomfort for many. As time passed, the story became self-sustaining. It no longer needed new information to remain relevant. Debates, reactions, and retrospectives kept it alive. Erika's live appearance was replayed endlessly, frozen in time, while interpretations evolved around it. The moment itself did not change. The meaning assigned to it did. Commentary suggested that this was the point of no return, not because anything definitive had happened, but because perception had solidified. People had chosen how they felt, and reversing that feeling would require something dramatic, a clear statement, undeniable proof, or another emotional moment powerful enough to shift the narrative again. Some believed that moment was coming. They pointed to the growing pressure and predicted that silence could not last forever. Others believed the opposite, arguing that any response would only reignite the fire. Both sides agreed on one thing: whatever happened next would be scrutinized even more intensely than what came before. In the meantime, the online world continued its cycle. New viewers discovered the story daily, consuming summaries that framed the drama as already decided. Longtime followers argued in comment sections, correcting what they saw as misinformation. No one truly won these arguments, but everyone participated. Through it all, Erika remained absent from the conversation, at least directly. Her absence became symbolic. To some, it represented restraint. To others, avoidance. To many, it was simply frustrating. The lack of closure kept emotions simmering, ensuring the story never cooled. As this phase settled in, the dominant feeling across platforms was not anger or sympathy, but anticipation. People were waiting for a statement, for evidence, for someone to break the stalemate. The drama had transformed into a countdown without a clock. And that's where things stood. Not resolved, not confirmed, just suspended. A story built on claims, reactions, and interpretation, growing larger with each retelling. Whether the truth would ever surface remained unknown. But one thing was clear in the commentary world. The moment Erika stepped back into the spotlight, willingly or not, everything would ignite all over again. Now, after watching how this entire situation has unfolded, one thing is clear. Nothing about this story feels finished. Between the live moment that set social media on fire, the reactions that followed, and the questions that still don't have answers, the drama continues to grow. Fans are shocked not just by what was said, but by what hasn't been explained. And that silence is exactly what keeps people talking. This is one of those stories where every viewer sees something different. Some of you may feel Erika was overwhelmed and unfairly pressured by nonstop speculation. Others may believe the way things were handled only created more confusion. Either way, emotions ran high, and the internet turned one moment into a full-blown spectacle. Unresolved timelines, mixed reactions, and conflicting interpretations have left everyone divided and watching closely. Now it's your turn. What do you think is really going on here? Do you believe this is just a case of online rumors spiraling out of control? Or does the way this played out raise serious questions for you? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this conversation is far from over, and every perspective adds another layer to the story. If you've been following this drama from the beginning, make sure you hit that like button to show your support. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next update, because if anything new breaks or another twist drops, we'll